In this video, I want to share with you the 5 mistakes I used to make when clicking pictures of wildlife. My first mistake that I want to talk about is that I used to rely on auto ISO. When I used to set my ISO to auto, I used to get inconsistent exposures. My pictures would be either too bright or too dark. Setting the ISO manually according to the aperture and shutter speed that I'm using helped me to get more consistent exposures. The second mistake that I used to make is not understanding the slowest shutter speed with which I can get sharp pictures. I used to think that I cannot get sharp pictures unless my shutter speed is at least 1,000th of a second when using the Canon 100-400 Mark II lens or the Nikon 200-500 lens. Today, I can get sharp pictures even at 1/60th of a second with the lens extended all the way out to 400 or 500 millimeters. That's because I learned how to hold my camera and lens with minimum amount of shake or use a beanbag wherever possible. The advantage of doing this is that I can use slower shutter speeds in low light and get lower ISO values which produce cleaner pictures. However, if the speed of action requires a faster shutter speed to freeze it, then I need to use that faster shutter speed. Let's have a look at this picture of this wagtail perched on the ground. I clicked this at 1/1000th of a second. Even 1/1000th of a second was not fast enough to freeze the action when the bird shivered. When clicking pictures of birds in flight, I very often need 1/2000th of a second or maybe 1/4000th of a second to click sharp pictures. The key is to understand what the minimum shutter speed needs to be to get super sharp pictures of that bird in that situation. The third mistake I used to make is that I wouldn't trust the sharpness of zoom lenses wide open. Prime lenses are super sharp at their widest aperture, but most lenses get sharper when you stop down a little. So I would invariably stop down my zoom lenses to 6.3 or 7.1 or even 8, thinking that would significantly increase the sharpness of my subject. But I found that's not entirely true. Lenses such as the Canon 100-400 Mark II or the Nikon 200-500 are sharp even at their widest aperture. My fourth mistake was there was a time when I was overly reliant on a monopod even when I used lighter lenses. In my mind, I believed that I just couldn't get sharp pictures unless I used that extra assistance of a monopod. A monopod is more convenient than a tripod, but it will restrict you when you're clicking fast moving action. It's so much more difficult to change direction. If there's a bird perched on the bank and suddenly there's a flock of flamingos in the sky, it's going to be that much more difficult to shift from that to that with a monopod. Once again, I want to emphasize on the importance of learning how to hold your camera with minimum shake so that you can shift from one subject to the other with minimum fuss. My fifth mistake was to ignore the invisible autofocus settings on my camera, especially focus tracking. I have a couple of videos, one for Canon cameras and the other for Nikon cameras, that will show you these invisible camera settings and how important they are to be able to click super sharp images of wildlife. Watch these videos to learn about the camera settings that need to be in place to click super sharp images of wildlife.